This video is going to be a response to Sergeant Willie Pete's video, Where Are the Best Going? The last video I uploaded used to be a part of this video, but it was taking up too much time and I had other stuff I wanted to say, so I just made it its own separate video. If you want to know what Willie Pete said word for word, watch his video. I'll link to it in the description box. Basically, he was saying something to the effect of black women who end up with men of other races aren't part of the quote-unquote sisterhood. He says, and I agree, that usually a black woman who's with a man of another race will display very few, if any, of the stereotypically negative behaviors of black women. The question Willie Pete was posing, if I'm understanding correctly, he was posing it to black men. How can we get black women to drop the sisterhood for us? They'll drop it for other men, but not us. Now, I've heard this complaint from black men before, but I've learned not to call bullshit until I ask for clarification. So I'm going to ask for clarification. When you say that black women treat non-black men better than they treat black men, are you talking about two black women or one? And here's what I mean. You brought up Ruth Lynn, so I'll go ahead and use her as an example, and I hope she doesn't mind. Are you saying like a woman like Ruth Lynn, when she dated black guys, she treated him like shit, but as soon as she got with the white dude, she treated him better? Is that what you're saying? Or are you talking about two different women? For example, Oprah, she's with a black man and she dominates him, and basically Stedman is her bitch. But then you look at a woman like Cheska Lee, who you also mentioned, and she doesn't look like a type of woman who dominates her man. I'm sure she lets her man lead. If you're talking about situation number two, Oprah and Cheska Lee are two different black women, so that does not constitute a quote-unquote switch up. If you're talking about situation number one, where the same black woman treats a black guy like hell but treats a white guy like heaven, then that would be a switch up. So which one are you saying? I'm going to describe three types of black women for you with relevance to this topic. I'll use myself for example, but I'll preface that by saying that I am not looking for a man, and you can take that to mean whatever you want it to mean, whether you want to think I'm a lesbian, that I'm married, got a boyfriend, or just not looking. I don't think I'll elaborate on my marital status at this time. But anyway, I am not an argumentative person. I do like to debate, but I keep my debates civil. Now, Willie Pete, on my other Gotta Be Kidding Me account, and when you used to be on YouTube, we had some debates, and during those debates you called me stupid. I don't know how many times, but at least once. And then you have a video on your channel on Generation X right now where you call me an asshole. I have never called you any names. You may not agree with what I say. You may even think some of the things I say is bullshit, but you should at least be able to recognize that I'm not a bitch. But anyway, even if you think I am a bitch here on YouTube, how I interact with men here on YouTube is not how I interact with a guy I'm in a relationship with. First of all, I find a man who shares my beliefs so that we don't have to argue on the big stuff. Second of all, I know how to treat a man, and I'm a woman who understands that it's better if the guy leads. I am not someone who likes to henpeck her man. I can't stand henpeck men. They are pussies. If I wanted pussy, I'd be a lesbian. All the things I just described, I act the way I act because of who I am, not because of who I'm with. But anyway, getting back to Cheska Lee, for example, I don't know her dating history, if she's ever dated any black men, but I would say she probably has. I don't think she's the type of woman who was nasty to her black boyfriends, but as soon as the white dude came along, she was nice. I think she was the sweet person she appears to be all along, but a white guy just got to her first. So just because you see a nice, successful, beautiful black woman with a white man doesn't mean that she treated her previous black boyfriends like shit. Okay, then you got your second type of black woman. This is the type of black woman who, for whatever reason, wants to marry outside the race. Now, since generally women are not pursuers, she has to wait for a man of another race to hit on her. In the meantime, she will still date black men just to have something to do, even though she has no intention of taking it any further with them. This type of woman will treat a black man worse than she will a white man because she don't want you anyway. You're just a filler. You're just a commercial till the real show comes back on. Like Pink Elephant said in one of his videos, a black man at his best cannot impress a black woman who doesn't want a black man. The next type of woman, and I changed my mind, actually there's going to be 4 types of women. The third type of black woman is the type of black woman who legitimately likes black men. However, she is open to men of other races even though she doesn't necessarily seek them out. She's probably a woman who thinks her husband is going to end up being a black guy, but then all of a sudden a white man or a man of another race will come into her life, and because of the programming we get in our heads as little kids that white is better, she may try harder to hold on to this white man than she did with the black men she dated. So she will argue less, and she will do more of what he asked her to do because she's trying to keep him. Now, it's not necessarily this black woman treated the black men she dated bad, it's that she's treating the white man better. An analogy for that would be like if you say, "How are you doing?" and I say, "Fine, thank you for asking," That's very courteous and polite, but it would be even more courteous and polite if I said, and how are you? So for this type of black woman, the black guy would get the fine and thanks for asking, but the white guy would get the fine, thanks for asking, and how are you? So that's the third type of black woman. The fourth type of black woman I think encompasses most black women, which is that they exclusively like black men and they don't even entertain advances from other types of men. Now, you can't be talking about these women because they don't even date men of other races, so they don't even have the chance to treat them better than you. So when you say black women switch it up, you'd have to be talking about either woman number 2 or number 3. And as I said before, 2 shouldn't even count because they don't want you. Now I'm going to switch gears just a bit. I get private messages from men here on YouTube, some of which surprisingly seem to be interested in me, and I say surprisingly because they've never seen me, and quite honestly, I don't have the most attractive of female voices. It's a tad deep for a female, and I have answered the phone sometimes and the person called me sir because they thought I was a dude. But despite all that, I still get messages from guys saying, hey, what's your situation, where you at, yada yada yada. But anyway, there's this guy who messages me from time to time, and I hadn't made a video in a little bit, so he was like kind of asking me when I was going to make another video. In that message, he said something that suggested that I was physically attractive, but he's never seen me. So I wrote back and innocently said, well, how do you know that I'm attractive? You've never seen me. I could be a total wolf dog. And wolf dog isn't a term that I use seriously, so I was just lightheartedly asking the question. This guy fires back a message saying, are you such a feminist that you can't take a compliment from a man? When I read that, I was like, wait a minute, back that truck up. Feminist? That is offensive to me. Not necessarily because there's something wrong with being a feminist, but because you ought to be able to see that I'm not one. So anyway, I wrote him back and I said, that's not cool. Do you even watch my videos? Why do you think I'm a feminist? So then he writes back kind of like he's trying to lay a guilt trip on me, and he says, I said a whole bunch of positive things to you and I say one negative thing and that's what you focus on. Then he adds, black women are so difficult. Difficult? You insult me, I let you know you insult me, and instead of apologizing, you call me difficult. How does that work? If I weren't the type of woman that I am, then he would have won. And I don't mean won in the sense that we were competing with each other, but here's what I mean. He insulted me unprovoked. And I told him he insulted me, and then he came back and acted like it was my fault for picking out the one negative thing out of all the positive things he had said, and then he threw out the black women are difficult line. I think some black women would have let that black women are difficult comment distract them away from the real issue, which is the fact that he insulted me, and they would have flown off the handle. Difficult? What you mean I'm difficult? I'm difficult because I'm black? Listen here, motherfucker, you're weak, you're da-da-da-da-da. If I had flown off the handle, then I would have confirmed that I'm the black bitch that he expects me to be. He would have walked away from this whole thing, not acknowledging that he started this whole thing by insulting me, and he would have thought he just dealt with a difficult black woman. The point I'm trying to get to is that this guy could not see that he was dealing with a different type of black woman. He was treating me like every other black bitch that he's ever met. It seems that some of you black men have this idea in your head of how, quote-unquote, black women are. So even when you meet a brand new black woman, you treat her like it's just a matter of time before she shows her true black woman colors. I've seen that attitude in 2 black men here online who claim they're trying to help black women. One of them is you and one of them is Soul in Black. In one of the videos on his old account, he was talking about how he had just met a black woman and everything was going fine so far, but he didn't know how long it was going to last or something like that. He said something negative like that. Why would you say that while you're in a relationship? At least let it go bad first and then you could say, well, I knew it. But don't be anticipating a bad end to a relationship that you're still in. And then you made a video talking about, I don't even know if I can take a chance on a black woman. And even if I get a black woman who's from another country, if I bring her over here, eventually she's going to start acting like all the others. And let's not forget what we're talking about here. We're not talking about your stereotypical bitchy black woman. We're talking about the black women that you're saying are going to men of other races. So these are not women who are bitches. So if you have an attitude like, I can't even take a chance on a black woman, or if you do meet a decent black woman, you're anticipating the relationship going sour, then this would explain why you're not able to find good black women. If you're on a date and you have a negative attitude towards the woman or being in a relationship with a black woman, then she can sense that. And it leads to a bad vibe in the air, and that can make the date go sour. I've been out with guys and even dated guys briefly who, after several weeks of dating each other, they still can't tell they're dealing with a different type of black woman. Because they'll keep making these little negative snide remarks, similar to what the dude said to me in the email. It wasn't anything too over the top, but still, it was out of line. But it's little snide remarks like that that can pull the bitch out of you even if you're not a bitch, because you're hearing all this negativity and you just want to say, dude, shut the fuck up. But the minute you react like that, you confirm that you're the bitch that he thought you were to begin with. He'll think you really are a bitch even though he instigated you into it with his negativity. So in closing, if you're concerned about the upper echelon black women going to men of other races, you need to develop the ability to recognize them. Stop expecting the relationship to go bad, because if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it, but the very thing you find, you may be the cause of it. So it's really like a self-fulfilling prophecy.